Taya. It is a rainy mess of a day, and I am live now. Nothing really to do, nothing really to say. I was talking earlier with someone I deeply love about whether desire is the root of all suffering. The argument is always that we work toward the things that we love. The question that I always present is, to what degree are we willing to harm others, and at what amount will that harm that we do to others, or that we are willing to do to others, cause us suffering in the future? And so I desire things. Of course I do. I have ambitions. I want to stand in front of crowds of people. I want to know that my words are being heard and felt and lived and understood by generations of people. I want to positively impact the lives of uncountable trillions. I want to be heralded in my lifetime as the single greatest innovator in the English language. I want people to acknowledge my style and my grammar is foundational to understanding English composition moving forward. I want to lecture. I want to be invited to do a TED Talk. I want to step out on stage and for everyone to know that I am improvising. I want for people in the comments to count how many times I've repeated a particular idiom. I want people to notice the idiom that I say that are constructive, not the idiom that's performative and defiant. I want people to recognize that my face is my face. I look like me. I want things. But the degree to which I'm willing to push people like Alex O'Connor into unemployment, destitution, homelessness, is a question that you should have answered for yourself by now. Frankly, when you roll up, it should be answered. By the dirty camp pillow that I sit on in public because my pelvis is ruined. Or that you could learn these things. I find the sound of the rain in my tent meditative, but I am going to put on music. No, not that way. Because allegory, religion, what I'm doing is an expression of my religion, certainly, is mixed metaphor, because it's all a metaphor. God is a metaphor. You are a metaphor. Everything is a metaphor to your perception. We don't perceive anything as it really is. It's all metaphors, it's all symbols, it's all images. The argument against want as a simple thing is, well, I want to have green eyes. In the Sumerian ancient world is, I want blue eyes. Blue eyes was a mark of divinity. And not Robert Longshore, green eyes is a symbol for deception. And so the easy argument is, well, I want green eyes. I have brown eyes, mud brown eyes. I want green eyes. Blue eyes would be too obviously not mine, but green eyes could be a genetic freak of nature. That's just beautiful in its own right. And faking it is super easy. Maybe not historically, but right now, faking anything is super easy. Faking being or doing or having anything that you don't naturally or shouldn't naturally. It's very easy. We just spent the last decade watching people pretend to be the gender they're not, and remarking on, wow, it's really easy to do that actually. It's so easy to do that actually. It's probably not real. And here we are. Now, we did the scientific thing and we did the smart thing and we waited. But you can predict, if you know anything about horticulture, if you know anything about construction, if you know anything about manufacturing, if you know anything about anything, you know that everything begins at an idea. And you can predict how an idea is going to play out. When I was a kid, I used to dream of being an X Games rollerblader. That's all I ever wanted. I had the blades, I had the attitude. I watched Brink as a little boy. I wanted it. It's the only thing I wanted. I even had a bike with the. I talked my parents into buying me this trick bike, and of course somebody in the neighborhood stole it. But it's all I wanted in the whole world. And obviously that didn't play out. You could predict. You could predict from my desire where I was in the world socioeconomically, whether that and just geographically, how that was going to play out. It's like when I hear these kids in Zanesville drop the N bomb like they think they're in a rap video or they think they're in Friday. Um, I just think to myself, how do you think that's going to play out when you go to a majority black community and you're going around calling people nigga? How do you think that's going to play out? You can predict these things at behavior. This is why I constantly repeat my father's idiom: if you do it right every time, you won't do it wrong anytime, right? And so if you don't learn to use idiom that don't belong to you socioeconomically, you can predict that you won't use it in a place that it's inappropriate by accident, right? Like, think about your office setting where you are at work, right? Whether you have an office setting or not, just imagine that you're in the office, right? And you call Stanley the black guy to everyone but Stanley. How approaching 100% do you think it actually is that eventually you're going to go, hey, the black guy, when you mean to say Stanley because you're distracted? The answer is 100%. It's 100% approaching 100%. It's going to happen because you're going to develop a habit and you're going to think you're in control of the habit. This sounds like drugs now, doesn't it? Sounds like everything. Everybody has this thing. I have this thing that I keep saying, I'll stop. I'm in control of it. And I'll be in control of it when I need to be in control of it. And of course I am, to the degree that I am. But then when I actually test myself, am I? We'll find out every time I test myself, whether I succeed or whether I fail. We can begin to predict suffering, right? For example, I'm playing 7 Days to Die. I'm playing Schedule 1. You can watch them and you can predict how this is going to develop without knowing much about either game, just by the way that I'm interacting with the game. Like when I watch myself play, I'm not sitting around and thinking to myself, you're not making enough bud, you're not producing enough weed. Because one person commented that, that exploit that I actually did by taking everything out of the starting trailer that blows up, because I realized that that blows up and it has late game grow setup in it. If you take that with you, you have it. It doesn't blow up. So you don't have to spend all the money on your grow setup. You don't have to spend any money on your packing station. You don't have to spend any money on your initial storage, especially if you steal the initial storage from no steal. Yeah, if you steal a bunch of shit from the motel room that you rent, but that you keep permanently after a week is up, you take all that stuff and you just invest it in your first semi-permanent spot. You are in a great spot for like a week or two financially. You are great to just build, and you can see that behavior and you can predict it out. Like, oh, his starting trajectory is going to be a lot higher, so he can make a lot more mistakes as he goes along. You can predict this sort of stuff. So, like, for example, when you see me running around with just bags, not even bags, stacks of bud at night, you can predict that something bad is going to happen. And predictably, reliably, something bad happens for the first 10 episodes because tens are the cycle that routine happens in. Routine develops into habit at the 100. You do a routine, which is 10 cycles of a thing, do a routine 10 times, and you have a habit now. Habits are unthinking. The unthinking parts of your brain can absolutely lead to fatalities to the people around you. There were rashes of stories, and so I used to follow the scientific skeptic community, and so I used to listen. Really, actually, I binged all of like a decade or maybe even 12 years of the Skeptic's Guide to the Galaxy. And Dr. Stephen Novella is someone who is a practicing neurosurgeon, but he's also a neuroscientist. And so these are different fields, and they require different brain sets. So he's the kind of person who would be inclined to talk about a lot, and in fact did talk a lot about people letting their habits, the things that they go unthought about. He even has a great lectures course called something like Your Mysterious Brain or something like that. But anyway, his whole creative and literary and experimental and public persona is about how the uncritical things in your brain, things that you do not examine critically, can lead to fatalities in people around you, which is an extension of what I say. How much harm are you willing to do, and how much guilt, how much suffering is that harm that you are willing to do going to bring back to you in the future? And so the story that always pops into my mind when I think about this is there was this guy who never brought his kid to work with him. And one day he had his toddler in the back seat in the what is it called, the seat, right? And you can predict how this story went. He's taking the baby to go do something, and he stops off at work real quick. Well, several hours later, he comes back to the car to find a dead toddler in the car because his autonomous nervous system went in through the routine and the habits that he needed to get into work and out of quickly. And he forgot about that toddler because he wasn't thinking critically about his routine. And you can watch Phil do this all the time. You can watch his banana collection continue to grow because he's not thinking critically about what he's doing. He's trying to get into a habitual state where he's doing the same things every time, but he's not. And so he won't even think about numbers, and he won't talk to himself. He'll immediately start talking bullshit, and immediately all of that goes into short-term memory. Your short-term memory is a cycle of 15 seconds. If you don't think about something a second time after you thought about it within a 15-second window, it's gone. It's gone. Your brain is thinking about your autonomous nervous system is thinking about way too much to keep stuff in there if you aren't thinking about it every 15 seconds. If you aren't thinking about it, think about that 15-second loops. Let's do just a 15-second moment of silence to appreciate how long, in fact, for you, 15 seconds is. Ready, go. That was 15 seconds. That's how long you have to think about something after you've thought about it to get it to maintain it in your short-term memory loop. In order to get it out of your short-term memory loop into your long-term, your middle range memory loop of about 30 minutes, you have to say it out loud a few times during that 15-second track. And then your brain goes, okay, this is important enough that we're going to store it for a little while. And if you want it to get into your long-term memory loop, you have to turn it into a habit of thinking about it and talking about it. And so if you watch my 5 techniques to help you learn better today, one of them is just constantly talking about the shit you're trying to learn and that you're trying to remember and that you're trying to memorize. constantly talking about it. The Phil Alitea method is just constantly talking about what you're trying to learn about, because that's called practice. And if you do it right, if you're funny and you turn it into stories or you make music with it, it's called play and you can make money. And then you can buy me a bottle of scotch someday. I'm not joking. But the question to me is always, how much harm am I actually doing to you guys? How much harm am I willing to do? That's why I don't actually ask for money. I say, if you've got it and you think I deserve it, hit your boy up. He's hungry. But if you don't. Because I'm not willing to put you back just because I live in a tent. That would be the behavior of a narcissist and a psychopath. And if I'm a sociopath, I don't want to have to process the guilt later. And if you want to think about me in terms of narcissism and psychopathy, I don't want to have to process the guilt later. Or I just don't want to have to kill you later for being mad at me. I can predict how this is going to go. And I don't want to deal with the suffering later. So I'm just not going to invest in cultivating that particular plot of land. Even though I dropped apple seeds all over, and it technically belongs to me. Something you guys don't quite understand. If you leave here and you make beautiful art, it belongs to me. It's intellectual property because I inspired it. Now, what I'm not going to do is come around and make the claim. Others will. This is why we steal so liberally, so that no one person can say we stole from them. If you say, well, I stole from you, and I stole from him, and I stole from him, and I stole from public domain, go fuck yourself. That's called the creative process. And this is why I say that the competition shakes intellectual property ownership out in the wash. Steal liberally from me. Try. Publish Rob as your own thing. It's not going to work because you're not good enough to fix it. And if you're good enough to fix it, then he's jumped to you from me, and that just makes everything better in my life because I never have to think about it again. I don't. This thing that I've made a habit of my life doesn't have to be my habit. I can do something else with my time. Never have to talk to people like that Ryan Holden, ever again. Never have to read their words ever again because I can do what I actually want, which is to disappear entirely from human society. Just live by myself on my own until I die and give my carbon back to the earth. There's a Modest Mouse song that I'm gonna go find. I don't remember what it's called. I don't think it's Fly Trapped in a Jar. That's a good one. It might be this one. It'd be funny if it were this one. Hey Eric, what's up, bud? But I can confirm that my dry bag is dry, waterproof. My shoes are waterproof. My jacket is waterproof. And I haven't worn my pants in the rain because I haven't made enough money to make that make sense. Oh, yeah, you know, I'm still early in the game and my build is all fucked up. My build is all over the place. It's really spread around. I needed to invest in stamina and food a lot earlier, and I didn't know that. No, I can run. What I need to be doing is running. I don't get enough experience to stand and fight those things. Now, my build is not great. My build is deliberately dickish as I learn the game scattershot the way that the Phil Alitea method encourages. And then as I get better at the game, um, my builds will make more sense and I will look better at the beginning. Foundation is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be spread out so I can be ready for a lot of different things because I'm going to die a lot night 7. I'm going to die a lot. Thank you for bringing discussion about my work to the table. Thank you for listening to me, Eric. I kind of climbed up in his ass about this the other night, and he's listening. I don't think I have a weakness either, except outside my base. That's what I've been trying to cover is my immediate weaknesses in my play style. Thank you for noticing. It's very early game. Yeah, and this last video was what things are going to be like every time I leave my base at night. So I gotta figure out how what I wanted to know was where they were going to come into my house and how to fuck to defend that stairwell. I did. I got that gun out of. I got lucky. I got it out of a supply drop, and I am cheating. I did acknowledge this in the video. I am cheating and doing supply drops every day because I may or may not be able to get to them and survive. So getting to them might be an experience deficit that makes the quests worth doing to me in a way that they wouldn't be otherwise. It's not that the rewards wouldn't be worth it. It's that I would be stubborn enough to go and Minecraft this game, and that's not how you're meant to play it. Well, it's in the because I turned it up from every 3 days to every 1 day. It's within the rules. I'm allowed to do it. I just acknowledge that is making the game easier on myself. I was going to not admit this, but I also turned my personal experience up to 300%, um, just so the game's not so slow in the early game. That's why I get like 5 deaths worth of experience from traders. The game is thrown back. Yeah. Well, it kicked my ass for the choices I made, um, because I do have the difficulty on warrior. So I didn't want what I didn't want was um, for my risky choices to not end in me dying multiple times. For those of you who don't know about me, I played EverQuest back in the day, so I might turn up the experience penalty for dying, because I am accustomed to an experience and getting your body back, uh, penalty punishment from EverQuest that's grueling and might result in me never getting. They're just going, fuck it, I'll make it all again. Um, I might turn the difficulty on retrieving my body up to that high. There is an option where I can set it to where all of my shit disappears when I die, or I only maintain what was in my hands, like on my tool belt. I'm not going to do that. Not until I'm ready to do like an Iron Man run, where I want the game to just be absolutely punishing and ridiculous. But I'm not there. I've only got what you've seen in the game. Yeah, yeah, you take you have to deplete that bar before you can go up again. It's not a timer. And it's amount of experience that you're in a deficit. EverQuest used to do that. It would take your experience from you. It would drop you levels. So you would lose access to spells in your spell book if you were a wizard, for example. It's just it's a penalty. It's a debt. So you owe the game a certain amount of experience before your bar will begin to increase again. So if you die, so let's just, this is a hypothetical. I don't know what the penalty is, and it probably scales per level. I love it. It's probably just 20% of your bar every time you die. Um, and so if you need 1,000, you have to get 20 experience, and if a kill is 1 experience, you have to get 20 kills or whatever. I love it. It's a great system. I miss it from video games. I miss it being that punishing when you die. Uh, I played EverQuest so long that when I went to console games and you didn't lose levels for dying, I was disappointed. That was a major complaint. I played WoW for a little while, and that didn't happen, and it was a major complaint for me. Even the easier corpse runs bothered me. Get a feedback loop. No, well, I mean, just don't die. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might go in there and look and see if I can turn the penalty up because I don't want to die. No, you get experience by digging, building, making things in your inventory, and finishing quests, killing zombies. Those seem to be the ways that I have found to make experience. And The best way to grind experience that I have found in the early game is cutting down trees. No, your tools are gonna break. I also have a level 4 pickaxe or a level 4 stone axe, so that might have level 4 like I'm a badass, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm not bragging. I'm saying that might contribute to why I get so much experience. But building is, yeah, they want you building. Um, the best way that I've found, literally, the most experience I've gotten just doing anything was digging those fucking holes for treasure, cutting down trees, making those wood spikes gave me a whole shitload of experience, if I remember right. That's what they want you doing, Eric. That's why I keep saying that I'm probably gonna level the house from top to bottom. I'm gonna gut it, and then I'm probably gonna level it down for the materials and the experience. That's what they want you doing. That's how they want you spending your time. Because in Minecraft, that's all a waste of time. If what you're trying to do is play a game, and so this game made that the experience loop. That's why you do that stuff, and then you invest in doing it better. I like that. No, it's great. It's a great system. It's a great core gameplay loop. For example, what I hate about Skyrim is that you expend all this experience, time, money in blacksmithing, and it makes the enemies harder. I'm gonna do it to mine because I don't know why I'm spoiling this to you, but I've talked about it. I'm thinking very much about digging straight down. Uh, no, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gut the house and I'm gonna build a central column up the middle of it that I'm gonna try to get them to funnel into or funnel around. I'm gonna climb up around it. I'm gonna jump down into that column. I'm gonna seal it off, make them dig down through it, and then I'm gonna get down another level under it, and I'm gonna blow all that up. That's my goal. That's how I'm gonna do my first real horde base. That's my plan. It's probably not gonna work, but that's my plan. No, I'm not gonna have to move them. Um, Eventually, I'm just gonna make a storage system several levels lower. I want to bunker up for a while. That's my goal. If I can find a fucking if I can find a fucking I can't remember what they're called. Basically, the jackhammer of drills. I don't remember what they're called right now. If I could find one of those motherfuckers, I can invest points in my stamina, so I can just let that do all the work, and I can build one. And I'm already going a mechanical and turret build. So eventually, I'll be able to put up two turrets and probably two dick punchers. Auger, thank you. Yeah, if I could find a fucking auger, I'm gonna go to town under this house. You already noticed I'm starting to reinforce the entrances with cobblestone. And what I'm going to try to get them to do is dig down into that, and I'm going to trap it up. And I want to have a turret right there just shooting up into them while they're doing it. That's my goal. Hello, Inspired Nut. It's going to take me forever to get to the second turret, but when I get to the second turret, I'm going to be. It's crazy. Yeah, it's really deep. Um, it took them like 10 years to develop, to get to where they are right now. I love it. I could not be more ecstatic, but I can't host other people. So if somebody wanted to play with me, they would have to host my session. They'd have to host me being there. I'd have to guest star. Oh, plans for sure. As soon as I saw that house, I knew what I wanted to do. It's got that hole in the top floor already. I can reinforce that into a column that I can turn into an escape hatch. I can Mario it with platforms that I can jump down instead of ladders. And then I can work on my parkour so I can fall further. And with any luck, I can get a few weeks out of that. Probably I'll only be able to get the way I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna force them to dig. I wanna keep them digging. That's the idea, is digging into my walls. Um, because I'm not gonna be able to fight back. Because you guys don't know yet. I've turned it so that it spawns the maximum number that it can spawn on me every night. So I might have as many as 64 zombies on me um, this weekend. So I'm not anticipating a lot of being alive. I anticipate a lot of kiting and running for my life into the night, and then dying, and then running until morning. That's what I anticipate for this first night. I anticipate a lot of crying. I didn't mean I don't know if it's a darkness setting that I have or if it's the brightness of the moon because it's full or what. But I didn't realize it was after dark when I started fucking with that guy in the spike trap. So when I turned around and those motherfuckers started chasing after me, I knew it was over. Like, ah, fuck, I'm out here after dark. I'm fucked. And so I was hoping I could get back to Trader Rick wrecked before dark, and that he would let me hang out in his spot. And I that's what I get for thinking, for hoping. But this game is kind of what I was talking about as far as loops and getting into routines. Like in 7 Days to Die, you got to get into a routine where you can finish a quest or two before nightfall, and then you got to get back to your base with resources. Yeah, I it didn't record game audio for some reason. I got to figure out what's wrong with my OBS, that it's not recording tracks that my Clipchamp can manipulate. And the problem is just that I'm using Clipchamp. Um, and so I might not actually be able to record a guest podcast the way I want to. I might have to record it on my phone. I might have to multi-track it to my phone, and I don't know how to do that yet, so I'll figure it out. But that might be what I have to do. Well, that's why I wear earbuds. I can hear it just fine. It just didn't record the game audio. It recorded my voice audio. It recorded my voice, and it recorded something else that it shouldn't have, as far as audio tracks, but it didn't record the game audio track. I'm dead. Yep. Dictator is a dead man. I said a whole bunch of times. Yeah, I could hear him following me. Yeah, it worked for some reason. I don't know that I want to examine. Not that I'm saying I don't want to examine it with you. What I meant to say is, if I were talking to myself, what I would say is, I don't know if I want to examine it because I don't know if I want to do it a second time, but not on purpose. Mm-mm. They have a really good 3D panning. You can hear where everything is. Mm. Oh yeah. Maybe what it is I did a better job of narrating what I could hear and not relying on you to hear it. These plantain chips are the fucking shit. Oh, you know what? I think I know the name of the song. Yeah, try to be funny. This is a sweet potato chip in my hand. Mm. All of these are GMO. I don't know why they bother saying they're not. This is either a potato, a sweet potato, or a plantain. And I can't tell the difference in the yucca and the taro root. But Rach, if you're out there, they look like communion wafers. Not a good cookie at all. We're up, gamer. I'm good. Hey, you hit 142. That's awesome to hear, bud. Kicking ass and taking names. What you playing? No, I wasn't joking, Eric. I was dead. I haven't. Skate? I think you told me that before. Is that a reboot, or are you playing the first one? Wasn't there a Skate 4 back in the day? Obviously, I don't play this series. Um, I haven't invested enough in my actual intellect that my fucking pipe thing, my pipe baton, stuns frequently enough. I need to knock those motherfuckers down in order to be able to survive, and I don't do it often enough. Heard that, Gamer Pro. No, that's why I was asking if it's a reboot. Like if it's a recent release. Or if it's a retro title back from the day. Because if I remember right, there was Tony Hawk, and then that stopped being a thing, and then Skate became a thing. Take care, Gamer. It's good seeing you around, buddy. For those of you in the chat, go check out my guy Gamer Pro. In the future, check out my guy Gamer Pro. He's a pleasant hang. He plays Skate. As of right now, he has 142 subs. I would love to hear next time I hear from him that he's got more than I do. Because that would mean that all 1,500 of you subbed to him and brought friends. And that'd be fucking sick. If I have the power to mobilize the masses, I would like to use it to get people to go to where the pool hangs. So let's starve out Mr. Beast. He could use losing a few pounds. You know, I'd probably be okay with him shooting his thing from a tent while I had his millions. Probably be eyebrow. I love how this song starts. He's like, it's a good thing my dog didn't bite you. Because God knows, she knows, my dog, that I would have let it happen. That's funny shit. You gotta give her credit, because she knows I would have let her. Lemon on the weekends. God, I need a cola now. I love this song. Oh, we mumble loudly, wear our shame so proudly, wore our blank expressions, trying to look interesting. Funny shit. People leave my channel, they leave these lives, and they return and they report to me that they see people wearing blank expressions, demanding money to do something that promises to be interesting. Nothing changes. As much as anything changes, it's always the same because we're still a mammal. We're still just a mammal. That's a good line, too. Blame it on the web. But the spider's your problem now. Language is the liquid that we're all dissolved in. It's great for solving problems after it creates a problem. That's so good. Such a good line. Everyone's a building burning with no one to put the fire out. Standing at the window looking out, waiting for one to put us down. Everyone's an ocean drowning. Hey, Rachie. I think I heard a Patreon subscriber's feelings this morning, Rachie, and thought maybe you would enjoy taking part in the conversation that just popped into my head. Your queen has arrived. Greet her. I have. We're just chilling. He's been talking to me about 7 days today. I was talking about growing plants and suffering and doing harm. You know, like I do. And then I said something that led me to wonder. The Q&A subject title. Horse? Dinosaurs are aliens? Maybe if you believe in panspermia. That means we are too. They found trees recently that are so old they don't follow the Fibonacci spiral sequence in their leaves. They form a ring around sections of the branch. Rach, I could heel palm you right in the fucking forehead right now. I have such great affection for really so few of you, but well, I don't know about used. Well, I'd hate it if you cheated me out of it, IOU. Habits, my family, they mean so much to me. I don't think that it's right. I've seen so many ships go off sailing just to head off back again, just to go on sinking. I'm just a box in a cage. I'm just a box in a cage. Okay, Eric. My song. Thank you, Rachie. I'm surprised that you don't have a more existentially paranoid backdrop to why you think that. But maybe you're just afraid to talk about your existential paranoia because of how hard I ripped at Richard Shavers last night. Maybe there are no few of you who are afraid to talk to me now because you know how rapidly I process the shit you're saying. I process it faster than an AI. That shit's instantaneous from your perspective. Yeah, by the way, the brain is processing information at a quantum level. So outside time and space. So I'm glad to have you here, Slim. Feeding the algorithm. I don't know when I get to eat based on that, but you know, whatever. Not your problem. That's what I thought. You were gonna do that. There is no accurate answer. I'm just surprised you didn't pull the Fermi paradox on me. Just surprised you didn't have a. You're gonna hear this the wrong way, but a more pre-informed existential angst about it. You hate the idea of thinking we're alone, but you want to be invisible. Do you want them to be watching you? Who is there being out there for? I'm just curious. Like, do you want them to be out there for somebody else? Why do you hate it? I'm just curious. I'm not pushing. I'm not tearing you apart like I was tearing Richard Shaver apart. I can talk to you. I can't talk to Shaver. So why does it... I'm asking a lot of questions. They predict one another, you see. From what perspective is it stupid? Not why is it stupid. From what perspective is it self-harm? Okay, so you perceive it as stupid? If I were to ask you, if you're saying that it's a stupid design choice, waste. So it sounds like you're arguing a design choice. Technically, Slim, not one is occupied. No, just this one. No, I didn't say extraterrestrial intelligence. I am aware of that. They might be at this moment, but observationally to us, they're not. Well, Rach, who's the designer? Well, I did not say extraterrestrial intelligences, but it does require an intelligence to occupy a planet. No, I don't think bacteria occupy a planet. I think um, planets might host bacteria, but you wouldn't say that a bacteria occupy your refrigerator. There's almost certainly some form of life on the moon Enceladus or whatever of Saturn. Almost certainly bacterial life. Intelligent life that can occupy it? No, almost certainly not. Hmm. I would really like to know whether this is Yucca or Taro. Hmm. That's not what intelligence means. Not in this context. Hmm. Look, I didn't put the quibble extraterrestrial intelligence, and so sure, maybe even animal life forms, but things like what we're doing, no, just no. I don't think it's out there. Not observationally. We'll never see it. If it's out there, it might be out there right now, but we'll never see it. Okay, well let's ask nature. Why is she so wasteful? Rachie? I don't request it. I just corrected you. No, not coming here is the main point of why I say there are just not extraterrestrial intelligences. Another dimension doesn't mean anything, Bruce. Can you meaningfully be in the second dimension, Bruce? As far as I'm aware, there's only one state of matter that we can't find, or that we can't see. Oh, Rachie, maybe that cycle just works at the same or a similar proportion the bigger it gets. Maybe the universe needed to be that wasteful to arrive at a planet. Like ours. Maybe specifically ours. Because I did say extraterrestrials, meaning extraterrestrial life. That's fine. I didn't ask extraterrestrial intelligences. But if we're going to talk about extraterrestrial intelligences, um, Bruce is talking about extra material intelligences, and that's not what I asked. He's saying that ghosts are real. That's right, Eric. He's saying that maybe they're ghosts. Maybe they're witches. Well, what would be the alternative to that? Don't matter. They're all one species, and we're the only planet that has a diversity of species? How would that work? A planet with only one species of life on it. Well, Rachel, you remember me talking about how platinum is made? We are. Stars blew up to provide our carbon and the heavy minerals like iron that are in our blood. We are made of star shit. An allotment of cannibals? Sounds like something Spiff would say. Some? That's it's a sci-fi trope, for sure, Rach. It was the belief of a book that I read that informed who I am today when I was a teenager. Fuck, that's creeping me out. I can see my hand moving in the reflection of my bottle, and it looks like a fucking spider. Mm. Did you know that the word cannibal is technically a racial epithet? You an executive in the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, SETI there, Bruce? What the fuck are you doing talking to me? You call your quickies speeders, Eric? Just don't give your fucking self rug burn on your dick, pal. Mm, sort of. Well, let me ask you a question, Rachie. You may or may not know what Catholics are like. How different, honestly, is that feeling from God or Jesus or angels are watching or demons are watching? How different is it really? Like materially different. My good wishes could right now be coming true. I'd be forever in my poison losing eyes. No one's gonna fool around with us. No one's gonna fool around with us. So I'm glad to meet you, Angela. John Keel was of the opinion that they're the same phenomenon. That's what he said in Disneyland of the Gods. If I can get bidders to start, saying how much they would be willing to pay me for that, I will mail it to you. Draw a dick in the front cover and everything. Sign it. Trace my penis in it if you want. In Sharpie. It'll be there forever. Well, what if God's a metaphor for thinking about God? What if God's the thing you have to talk to and you take this conversation as far as it goes? You can't even afford it right now, Rachie. You can't afford this dick print. I'd ask you to wait. Now I kind of want to read about the Darrow and how they can mind control you to do evil things. Nice, Eric. My micro penis. I'll just start doing that, drawing a single dot on the page. There's my dick print, you fuck. I said, what if God is a metaphor that is useful for thinking about God? What if God is the thing you talk to when this conversation about God has exhausted itself? What then? It's deceiving? Modest Mouse was the move. Can somebody confirm to me whether Modest Mouse are from Florida? I think they're from Florida. I'm about to have to listen to Shit in Your Cut. It's a good song. I hate to be the shit in your cut, but well, what if God only works by asking for things to happen? What if asking for things to not happen cancels out the spell? Fuck. Georgia's still cool. Still southern. I don't like Synthie Pop. The Bravery can eat a dick. Shake the Elephant or has anyone ever told you that Cage the Elephant are fucking awful? What up, Samuel? You seem to have upgraded. What did you? What are the trophies in reference to? I almost said, did you beat cancer? Fuck is wrong with me? God, I hope I'm wrong. Now I hope I'm right, actually. Because if I predicted that, I just need you to be feeding me money. I'm a fucking super wizard. Well, that's what I'm asking you, Rachie. What if asking for something to not happen cancels out the spell and guarantees that it will? What if God was powerless to help? All right, those are two very different parts of the country. Atlanta, Georgia, and Washington, Issaquah, no less. Very different places. Tell me what to do, Van Morrison. You're not my dad. Your music sucks. Well, what if he didn't ignore you? What if he was powerless? What if you didn't want it to happen bad enough? Well, what does that mean? What you mean God is not king? If he can't intervene, he's not king? Omnipotent. Power gets fiddly in philosophical language. We could go into the definition of power that they mean when they say that, but it's not what we mean when we say power. Omnipotent, capable of all things. But that word means that it is all things. It's the potential of all things, that it's still a metaphor. I find that liberating. If you don't, um, Rob says to somebody at some point, I don't remember who it is, it's probably the Tavern Master, and it's probably the scene I should be reading right now, frankly. Kind of forgot that I do that when it rains. Just read Rob forever. But he says that a slave only knows he's a slave when someone tells he's a slave. What if that's a metaphor? What if that 7 days is a metaphor for the process of creating the entire universe just to populate Earth with humans in the way that we were evolved here? What if there is no planning intelligence that's capable of intervening? You think? That's pretty fucked up, isn't it, Richie? Well, let me ask you this. What if you have to eat the cookies? Please, everyone, refrain from a drinking the Kool-Aid reference without thinking about what that means. You get to meet God when you do that. Oh. Well, would you still feel like God is betraying you if the only way he answers prayers is if you eat the cookie first? I do. The what if position, for those not paying attention, is mine. I'm just not taking a rhetorical position to guide you there. I'm taking a dialectic. Oh. Well, what if you didn't drink the wine juice in the right way? Cookie debunked, but what about the wine juice? Grape juice. I don't think you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, what if, just what if, you had to drink the juice and eat the food and believe the right things and say the right words and be touched in the proper ways with the proper ointments, and then everything that you asked God happened. You asked God for happened. Would you start to feel like you had cheated a little bit? Like you turned the difficulty on life down, like a lot? Hello, Tamir. I think you can observe that my life has been stuck in a tent during the rain all day. And I smile. Everyone would do it. Everyone would do it. But everyone has done it on some level, right? So what if that's just a metaphor? Right. So what if the juice and the cookies and the gobbledygook, what if all of that's just a metaphor too? What if it's just to get you thinking not to ask for things? What if that whole ritual is just designed to get you to not want things? Hmm. He don't listen. Do you think he don't listen because he don't care, or because he's willful and knows better than we do? What if he is like a parent? What if he is like a father, right? My father didn't brook argument. If I asked my dad why, he slapped me in the face. And so if God's a father, what if he's the father we need, not necessarily the father we want? I think you're right about that. I think that's exactly why he doesn't listen. I think he's given us a game that he knows we can figure it out, and that he can't be proud of us until we have. I think that. I think that's exactly why I'm in this tent. That sentence right there. God doesn't listen because we're supposed to figure this shit out on our own with the tools provided. And that often does mean the people who fall in love with us. I think from God's perspective, our trials and tribulations are easy, soluble. This is why I play all these video games in such a brutal difficulty. It's not for internet kudos, it's personal satisfaction. If it were easy, I wouldn't enjoy it. I just wouldn't. That's why even if Eric watched, but I'm gonna post Final Fantasy IX gameplay eventually. And when you watch that Final Fantasy IX gameplay, you'll see me you'll see me smash my face into difficulty just to do it, just to have done it, because they don't skate free forever. Bad things happen to good people to teach other good people a lesson. Usually, the bad things that happen to good people are preventable. This is why so many of my literary and artistic, etc., artistic influences were suicides, right? Why did God let them kill themselves? Because bad people get away with doing bad things to teach, be it to teach good people to stand up for themselves. If we're supposed to figure it out with the tools provided to us, that it can happen to anybody, that bad stuff is just bad, that it just happens. It can happen to anybody. It does happen to everyone eventually. It's unfortunate, but we're still a biological organism. And biology isn't a perfect process. The wiggle room that biology needs in order for the evolutionary process to continue prints errors sometimes. And it sucks. It does suck. I was an abused child, and I spent my I spent the first 37 years of my life denying any kind of God. Why does all this bad shit happen to me? And these obviously bad people, when these ill adapted or maladapted, ill equipped, weak, lazy, stupid, ignorant, willfully ignorant, deliberately self harmful people, deliberately, willfully extra harmful, abusive, selfish, greedy people seem to go through life with no retribution, no punishment. And the answer is because I could take it, frankly. The answer is because I could take it. You'll be all right. What if he didn't make us evil? Babies aren't jealous or vindictive or angry. They learn those behaviors. And like we were talking yesterday, you and Eric and I were talking yesterday about most behaviors, most bad behaviors are just learned that there will be no consequence if you do it a second time. Well, right. That's why we teach our children not to be corrupt, as we say, decadent. That's why we say the children of the future. We will be dead. With any luck, they will reproduce. They're made. Serial killers make themselves. There's a choice made. Many, many choices made there. That guy who used to prey on, yes, that guy who used to prey on hitchhikers and decapitate them and then fuck their heads, he made that choice. He did it because he wanted to, because he thought about it. It's premeditated. You can't believe what they say on the stand. You have to believe what they've done. What they say on the stand, what they say in those documentaries, it's all lies. They're still psychopaths. They are made evil. They're not born evil. You can say of them, I had no idea, because they know better. If they were that way naturally, they wouldn't have survived childhood. They would have been put down. I don't need to know his name. I would prefer that he weren't famous. I'd prefer to forget about him. Personally, I would prefer to forget about him. You can only stay that fat in prison if you're a deplorable person. Uh, the abuse didn't make him. He made him. Can't blame his parents for what he did. Can't hold his parents accountable. Hey, look at that. God says I have done what I was supposed to do today. I can leave the tent and I can go get something to eat. So this is where somebody needs to hit my cash out for $25 so I can go get a hamburger. No, he wasn't born that way. He made himself that way. That's what I'm saying. You made you the way you are, Rach. Bundy wasn't born with thoughts in his head of doing that stuff to women. And you could say, well, he watched a lot of porn, and so porn put all those thoughts in his head. Porn abused him. Porn did him wrong. And it's like porn did not teach anyone to eat anyone alive. That didn't happen. You think that an arrogant asshole wouldn't think that he can make the choices that he wants to make and justify them to a stupid person, Rach? Do you think that You think Ted Bundy actually believes the shit he says on stand? Or do you think he thinks you are a stupid person who will let him out of prison? This was my second love. I thought I was going to compete in the X Games, and then I thought, well, you're never going to do that. So you can compete with serial killers by hunting and destroying them before they go to the stand. And here we are, not doing that either. Do you think someone who's arrogant enough to eat people and try to say that he's not guilty of the crime is humble enough to actually take responsibility for the choices that he made to make himself? Or do you think that he's going to try to make a Lady Gaga "I was born this way" argument? I think he's probably going to make the easier argument to pass off on what he thinks is a stupid person. Because a stupid person is going to believe the thing that's easier to believe from his perspective. And that's how you get away with crimes. So why does God let people get away with crimes? Because good people do nothing. Why were the Jews hunted and murdered in Nazi Germany? Because good people did nothing, including Jews. It was a predictable outcome. Could have seen it coming. They'd been saying for years it was coming. Could have known it was coming when Hitler took power. Nobody stopped that from happening either. Bad things happen because good people do nothing. Is God powerless? God is only as powerful as the people who act in his name. And so what do people are just not great. So what do people do in God's name? The easiest possible thing. And what's the easiest possible thing to do in God's name? Kill someone. Ted Bundy also built a shrine to an evil god in his apartment. And he tried to pull this, I'm just doing it because the God is making me argument, in case anybody got into his apartment and saw his shit. But if you listen to him talk about it, he didn't believe that. It was a failsafe because he is relying on, by preying on, stupid people to let him get away with what he's doing. Like, why is Elon Musk successful? I don't know that I'm innately good. I've done harm. I threw a kitten into the floor to see if it would catch itself on all fours. Nearly killed it. I made that choice. I used to lie awake at night and imagine what it would feel like to slowly slide a blade into my mother's boyfriend's body while she watched him bleed out beside her. I don't think I'm an inherently good person. I think what I've done is made a series of unquestionably good choices. I have taken sex and money from people who should have been giving me neither. I've worked jobs probably that other people would have been better suited for. Certainly, I've been
accused of taking jobs from people of a lower socioeconomic status than myself. I've been accused of halting the progress of impoverished people. Oh, I shouldn't have put these on yet. It's raining, it's sunny, it doesn't make a difference. I just don't care about anything at all. I don't know that I am good. I think that I behave good. I think I do good. I think I act good. I don't think I am good. I don't think you am good. I think good is a choice. Okay. Well, yep, can confirm. I didn't actually double check, but I can confirm that the waterproof bag in which I keep my clothes that get wet and that I don't want to get more wet uh, is waterproof. So my pants are damp, but no more damp than they would be after a good walk. So I'm not worried about that. And oh, I just almost tore my hip. Oh, that hurts real bad, actually. Fuck, that hurts. You don't know whether ETs are out there? I think, Rachel, I think that concept, the whole concept is the same stuff as gods, demons, spirits, ghosts. I think it's the same phenomenon. I think it's the same longing, and I think it's exactly the same effect. It's the same desire, and it's the same suffering. They may or may not be real, material. People are having experiences. That is undeniable. The experiences themselves, when studied in a laboratory by intelligent, believing people, are nothing burgers. Nothing ever comes of it. And the predictions are always wrong. The effort at being ahead of science always wrong. Being ahead of history, being ahead of the popular understanding, it's always wrong. Because the people who have these experiences want to be important. And so they're not listening. Okay. Shoelaces got wetter than I meant for them to be. I guess it depends on what you mean by the blue book is full of shit. Are you saying that the debunking work was full of shit? Because the debunking work might have been full of shit. Are you saying that the claims themselves are full of shit? Many of them were full of shit. Something that Americans, it used to upset me actually. It actually used to upset me until I got on the internet the last year, because I have known a lot of very intelligent and well read and well mannered and very thoughtful rednecks, but they're not on the internet. Um, and that means that they're not in places that, yes, Kelly Blue Book, great, that. Um, that's what he means. Um, it's actually probably why Kelly's Blue Book is called that. But since I've been on the internet, what I've learned is that the people who claim to have experiences, and the people who are interested in other people who have experiences, and the people who that get involved in this, and the people who are likely to call the cops about this stuff, and the people who are likely to go to the media about this stuff, and the people who are likely to talk about it at all, are, by temperament, lying. They're doing it for the attention. So I would say that approaching 95% of the phenomena happened. But I would say approaching 95% of the details are made up. Maybe more. I haven't read enough of these stories. But I've studied the men who studied the stories, and I've listened to them talk, and I've watched their faces, and they're not lying. J. Allen Hynek is the Blue Book. He's talking about the government's Blue Book research into UFO files. I thought you knew because John Keel talks about it in Disneyland of the Gods. J. Allen Hynek, the Air Force talks about it at length, actually. The Air Force did an extensive study into UFOs, and they called it Blue Book. The Blue Book Project. And J. Allen Hynek was one of the scientists. He was a physicist, and Disneyland of the Gods does a breakdown of this, of his career and all that. He was a physicist, and he was really just a shill. He wrote papers for NASA. He wrote not NASA, Air Force. He wrote Air Force approved public science papers. So he did science popularism in the 1970s. I'm just throwing out a year. It might have been the 50s. I don't know. Just fucking work with me for a minute here. He did science popularism, like the fucking black guy. That's a callback to earlier in the podcast. Watch the whole thing before you criticize me for my use of language. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a science popularizer on the payroll of the U.S. government, probably actually the U.S. military. So was J. Allen Hynek. J. Allen Hynek was on the Air Force payroll to debunk this stuff, and so he's the fucking swamp gas guy. No, Blue Book's not about Area 51. Yes, the Blue Book was an excuse to go and secure America's skies from foreign spies. And so J. Allen Hynek was a cover. He wrote science popularism articles based on the claims that were being made. He used the claims that were being made to explain then modern science, emerging modern science, because at the time it was undeniable that we had aircraft technologies that the public couldn't understand. That was just undeniable. What is not undeniable, or what's also undeniable rather, is that people like Jim Marrs don't actually know how ignorant they are. They don't act like people like Richard Shaver don't actually know how stupid they are. They don't understand how much they actually don't understand. You can't know how much you don't know until you're willing to be wrong. So until you're willing to be wrong, and you're willing to acknowledge that, okay, what I'm hearing you say is the truth is not what I think is the truth. And then until you are willing to develop the skills to understand how they can demonstrate their truth as separate from yours, and why they believe their truth is separate from yours, and until you have developed then the further skill to evaluate what you know and where you got what you know, where you got it from, until you have these three nested skills, you can't know anything. So you don't get to contribute. Richard Shaver, Neil deGrasse Tyson, J. Allen Hynek. These people aren't actually allowed to contribute. That's why Neil deGrasse Tyson can't actually publish. Yes, Bob Lazar says all the things he says to get famous. That's why I said that these people that make these claims, I genuinely am of the opinion that approaching 95% of these people embellish. They had an experience, they saw something, they learned something in the case of the disclosure people, but they embellish, they've made it up. And then I'm also of the opinion that the Air Force and the Navy lie to stupid people, so they'll go out and discredit the Army and the corporate world when they get out of the Navy and the Air Force. I am of the opinion that the internal military politics are insidious enough that they do filter out into the public. Yes, absolutely. My father was Army, and he had nothing good to say about anybody Navy, and my granddad was Navy, and he had nothing good to say about anybody Army, and they got along famously. They had nothing good to say about one another. My dad called his father-in-law Dad because he couldn't call his dad Dad. His dad was father, so he called his father-in-law Dad until his father-in-law insisted that my father no longer be around because my father is a fucking do-nothing loser. Do nothing, did nothing, loser. Gives up on everything halfway through. Because that's when it gets hard. I no longer know what's going on, so I'm just not going to pay any more attention. Okay, Dad. My mouse. I think Lucas might be dead. But I will not. Please? Damn it to hell. Alright, it's raining just enough now that I really do need to get scooting. What time is it? Fuck me. Play this song. What I'm doing is a mistake, but I'm hungry. Okay. No, Bob was lying. I just said 95% of it was embellished or made up. He may have had some kind of experience. Someone may have said something unsettling to him. He may have seen something in the corporate world that he shouldn't have. But just like the guy that was shoved out the window, the man that was shoved out of the building after being super dosed or heroic dosed with LSD, they tried first to mind fuck him and discredit him so they didn't have to kill him. So what he saw and what he experienced was extremely contrived, highly unreal, and he is very stupid and gullible. So what they did is they used his beliefs against him. They weaponized his belief system against him, which is what I was telling you earlier, that in the laboratory, these people who have experiences It turns out to be a nothing burger because of desire. They want it to be real, and so they embellish on it. Why can't I find this? How is that possible? Just what we're going. Rambling man. Okay, here we go. I made no money today, so I will be eating on credit. Speaking in an Italian accent. Okay, here we go. That's what this song's about to say. Let's go. Actually, he's gonna say okay. I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling myself. Fuck everyone else. Gotta remember that nobody's better than anyone else here. Do you need some time to think it over? Look they do to you, look what they do to me. You must be joking if you think that either one is free here. Get up off your knees, girl. Stand face to face with your God. Find out what you are. Hello, my name is Human. Hello, my name is Human. And I came down from the stars. Hello, my name is Human. Speaking of pretty, I'm ready for love and I'm ready for war, but I'm ready for more. God, I know nobody's ever been fucking ready before. I can't do that one. Here. You need some time to think it over. Figure it out or figure it out. I figured it out. The bigger the river, the bigger the drought. Get up off your knees, boy. Stand face to face with your God. Find out what you are. Hello, my name is Human. Hello, my name is Human. And I came down from
from the stars. Hello, my name is human. Find out what I am. Find out what I'm up off my knees, girl. I'm face to face with myself. I know who I am. Hello, my name is human. Hello, I am the power from the sun. I'm more than just a man. Hello, my name's a fusion. These questions have answers, and I don't want answers. But what are the chances of my own circumstances? I'm not asking questions, so keep your answers. I'm taking my chances. And it is raining. My phone's getting all wet. It's gonna be mad at me when I get to Pizza Cottage. It's gonna be all like, you got me wet. Don't put fucking electricity into me. You're gonna catch us both on fire. When you put it that way. I wanna fight them all. Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back. I'm gonna rip it off. Taking that time right behind my back. And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Back and forth through my mind behind a cigarette. And there's vision coming from my eyes says leave it alone. Songs like this are funny to do distorted. To me anyway. Yeah, it took just long enough. Every single one's got a story to tell. Everyone knows about it. From the Queen of England to the hounds of hell. Now I'll get you coming back my way. I'm gonna sell it to you. But that ain't what you want to hear, but it's what I'll do. Then there's feeling coming from my arms as Leon. Are you starting to notice the magic, the oracle in this music, Rach? I just let it play what it wants to play to me, and it's always talking about me. I'm gonna fight them all. A Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back. La 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 la. But an 8 Nation Army could. I mean, if you got that 8th one in there, I'm fucking done. I'm going to Wichita. All right, dudes. I made it safe. That's as much as you get to see.